Hello everyone, it's Edwina from Birthbeat and I am here today. I have to say, I just had to tear myself away from the stay-at-home mums page because Heidi has put on there all about her induction and birth, and it's so good and it's so real, and I think it just it's so good to show what birth actually looks like. And I'm, as a midwife, hugely passionate that we share that and that it's not all the glossy photos. You know, let's be real, let's help other women out and show what you actually need to know for birth. So that's what I absolutely love teaching. So today is a little bit different. We have so many new followers here at Stay at Home Mums, so let me just quickly introduce myself if you haven't already met me. I'm Edwina, I'm a registered midwife, and Eddie and Heidi asked me to come and join this awesome group of stay-at-home mums because there's so many of you who are expecting a baby or have a new baby, and I'm here each week to teach you as much as I can, all for free, just in terms of what you need to know to prepare for your birth. So I am a childbirth educator, that's what I do. I teach classes online, so we have a business called Birthbeat, teaching online childbirth classes. I've had lots of questions from the last few weeks around clarification between antenatal, postnatal and childbirth education. What's the difference? It's all the same thing. Ante is A-N-T-E, so it's not after you have the baby. It's all about classes that help prepare you so that you can have your best labour, birth and birth experience in the first few weeks. So that's what I do. I teach those classes. It's all online programs. So if anyone's interested, just send me a DM. I realize that I haven't let a lot of you know that. And if you haven't already caught our video, which is on the Stay at Home Mums page around what to do if your baby chokes, you'll know that we also teach baby and child first aid online. That's been hugely well received. So please go back and watch that. As I said, all these resources are free. They're just about making sure that you have the skills to know what to do. And I would absolutely be so upset if any of you had a baby choke and you didn't know what to do. So please go back and watch that video. I texted the girls because I had an email shortly after somebody went on and purchased the whole online program for the baby and child first aid, and her 8-month-old choked that evening and she knew what to do after watching the Stay at Home Mums free video. So super happy that that happened, not to her to experience that, but that she knew what to do. And I'm just realizing, like, what are the rules, I think, in television, Eddie, that you're not meant to wear prints, and I look like a cheetah that's been run over on a pedestrian crossing. But it's been a very busy morning here in the office, so bear with me. Someone's just said, Bub loves your voice, always starts kicking when I start one of your videos. That's so cool, Jade. One of our online mums actually just sent me an email. I'll put it up on our Facebook page, and her baby has been born, and she said when her and her husband used to sit down each evening and watch the Birthbeat modules, the baby would kick as well. So maybe the babies are annoyed by me, who knows. But today we are mixing things up a little bit, and I am showing you what to pack for your labour, your birth sort of postnatal period, and what to pack for bub. So really, we're looking at 3 bags that you need to pack. And why I break it down like that is if you're expecting to go into the birth suite, you want to have a bag that's packed, ready to go now. I really encourage women from about 34 weeks, 35 weeks to be thinking about having this bag packed. So how many of you would be needing to have a bag packed but don't have a bag packed that fit into that criteria? 34, 35 weeks, have you thought about packing your bag and what you're going to need in it? So I'm going to break it down into 3 bags for you. What you need to be thinking about taking into the birth suite, so into the labour ward where you're going to birth your baby, and then what you're going to need after in the postnatal ward, and then what you're going to need for bub. Excellent, there we go, sunshine by my window. That is perfect timing for you. Now, just so you know, you don't need to be taking note and pen. After this, just DM me on the Birthbeat page and we have actually set up a downloadable list with everything on the list that we talk about here today. I don't want you to have to be thinking about, oh gosh, what did she say, and having to remember. Just enjoy watching it and thinking about what you're going to pack in your bag, and DM me on the Birth Beat page, not the Stay at Home's mums page, just because those guys have so many messages coming in and they're not able to get to them all. So please just make sure it's on the Birth Beat page, and we will make sure that the team and I answer you all and get that list out to you, and it will just be into your inbox. So super convenient. So let's get started. All right, do you now have packed, but just want to double check? Good. Well, let's get into it. It's really hot in the office, so I feel like I'm doing a strip show now. That was not my intention. So we're going to start with, and these are genuinely bags that Jess, who works in our office in the Birth Beat team, is 38 weeks plus 5. So these are her bags. Now Jess knows that she's having her baby on Friday, so this is packed for that. But I'm also going to add a few things in to show you that if you know that you are going to labour, or you're thinking labour might be an option, not going directly for a C-section, few different things you need to add into the bag. And then we're going to look at what she's got packed ready to meet her baby. Okay, so we're going to start with the bag for mum. And what I really encourage all my Birth Beat parents to do as well is to grab some toiletries now, because particularly if you're birthing in a public hospital or a larger hospital, you won't be supplied with toiletries, and your partner doesn't want to think about having to pack toiletries if it's a little bit of a last minute grab. So if your water's broke at the supermarket, or if your labour came on quite suddenly and you're not able to go home to grab this bag and it's somebody else who's grabbing it, you don't want to have to give them the added responsibility of grabbing your toiletries. So just having a regular toiletry bag, and this was, not expensive. I think it was $10 or $12. I just picked it up from Target, and it has some deodorant, some shampoo and conditioner, some moisturizer, some body wash. So what I think in terms of making sure that you have just the basics, it doesn't have to be an extensive toiletry bag, but I do say with the deodorant, I actually encourage you not to wash that area after Bub's been birthed and come up onto your chest, because that still has the smell of all the beautiful amniotic fluid, so the liquor that is in your sac, so in your amniotic sac, which is essentially just the bag that the baby is in. I'm trying to choose my language so that it makes sense to you. There's no point me using fancy words if you don't know what they mean. But that liquor has a really strong smell to it, but the great thing is Bub knows that smell. So don't use heavy deodorants. I actually encourage you not to use perfumes and things, particularly in the first few days. And even if you've got good family and friends that are going to be visiting the bub, maybe encourage them not to, because Bub's taking on so much, learning to feed, brain is just exploding in terms of development. So I encourage my mums not to use heavily scented deodorants and not to wash that area with soap. So obviously you're going to wash your vagina and everywhere because there might be a bit of blood and there might be a bit of poo. But if that area doesn't have any meconium or any blood or anything up on it, just leave it. It will be absolutely fine. And really just basic toiletries, that's all you're going to need in the birth suite. So that's what I'm starting with there. Pads, and again, I don't really endorse any brand over another, but please just get good quality maternity pads. So super pads really don't cut it in terms of your blood loss after you have Bub. And we talked about this actually last week. So go back and have a look at our Instagram Q&A, because we had a really great question around how long do you bleed for after you have Bub, and how long are you expected to continue bleeding and what does that look like? So we answered that last week in the Birth Beat Q&A, so go and have a look at that. And I always say, have one pack, buy another. You will notice that you might be changing those every 2 to 3 hours in the first few days, and that the blood loss can be quite heavy for about 10 days. Jess has got some nice disposable slippers. So whether you have a vaginal or a C-section birth, we will encourage you to get up and move quite quickly. So a lot of people don't realize this, but even if you have a C-section, the next day you will be up and mobilizing. So you'll be up, getting into the shower, the catheter will be removed, the drips will start to be removed, and we want to get you to walk as soon as possible. And after you've had a baby, particularly if you've had an epidural or a C-section, you can have a lot of fluid on board because we've given you a lot of fluid via the drip. So your feet can be a bit puffy and swollen and not comfortable just to go into your regular shoes. So get a pair of, like, these are just cheap disposable slippers. They're comfy, they're cozy. She can wear them for a few days around the hospital, but if something happens to them, they're not the very best slippers, and she's not worried too much if they have to be left at the hospital. So just think about that. Sorry, I will come back and answer questions. Sorry, guys. And Jess has just got some tights here. Again, if you know that you're having a C-section, your scar is going to be just along the top of your bikini. Like if you wear a bikini style brief, your scar, the incision line, sits just on that bikini line. So you're going to want to have sort of a higher waisted pair of pants so that it's not resting or sitting on the scar line. So it's important for your underpants, but it's also important for your pants. And I think a lot of first-time mums don't realise that after you birth your baby, you're actually still quite full and swollen. Your uterus is still large. Yes, you have birthed your baby in the placenta, but you actually still look like reasonably pregnant, at least for a few days. So don't be bringing in just your regular clothes thinking that once you birth your baby, it's just back to normal. Have something nice and stretchy and comfortable. So Jess has got a high-waisted pair of tights here, again for a little bit of support after she's had the baby, and also dark in colour, cozy, comfortable, something that you're happy to move around really easily in. So that's important for you. She's got some comfortable pajamas. This is for after you've had the bub, obviously, and then we'll go through what to take into the birth suite. Jess has also got something here that's got really easy access to your boobs. So this is super important. Something that you feel comfortable being able to get to your boobs easily. So either something buttoned down, or what's really good, particularly this time of the year, is having breastfeeding singlets. So you can lift your top up, just so that bub's got lots of exposure to your skin, you know, and the smell of the breast, and so that it's really easily accessible for you. You don't want to have to be mucking around with clothes and things or feeling uncomfortable in what you're wearing. So just choose comfort and practicality, and easy access to the boob is absolutely key. Now this is a super important thing as well. This is actually for Jess's partner to be wearing, a button-down shirt, so that you've got something nice and soft for your partners to be wearing. Because when your bub is born and comes off your chest, or if bub is born in C-section and after you've had your skin to skin, bub can go onto your partner to have skin to skin. So if your partner doesn't have a button-down shirt, you know, they can grab a hospital gown, something like that, but just so that they can be having direct skin to skin. Really important for bonding, and a great, safe, secure place for bub to hang out. What else have we got? Some granny undies. You know, and this is the sort of style that I really recommend. You can see that it's a full brief. Go a size bigger than what you normally do, because remember, you've got to put a pad inside it, and they are big, thick pads, and you don't want your undies to be feeling tight and uncomfortable. Go the higher brief option, not the bikini line, because if you have a C-section, you're going to want the underpants to be sitting up over that scar line, and black in colour. Because again, remember, heavy blood loss for that first 10 days. You know, if you buy a 5-pack for a few bucks, it doesn't matter if you get them dirty, you can just throw them out. So just remember that. Some cozy socks for in the hospital after. Some breastfeeding bras, okay? Remember, you're not going to be having your regular bras. You need to be having something that you can access the boobs. If you are having a C-section, you can be looking at support bands for after you've had the bub. And again, DM me if you're happy or you want to know a bit more about that. And really, that's what you need for mum for the first day or two. Now, I don't encourage women to add in dummies or creams or lotions for your boobs. And that's because I'm quite intentional around that. In that when we introduce creams and things, and I know there are some really good products for when bub is established feeding. So in the early days, if we're adding creams and things, it's a whole new smell and texture for bub to get used to. in the first 24 to 48 hours, if you do need, and if your nipple is a bit cracked, it's an indication that we need to get the attachment checked. So that's the first thing. Speak to your midwife about the attachment. This is why I'm passionate about making sure that you have education about breastfeeding, and we have a whole section on how to breastfeed and support you through that journey in our online program. But if you're not able to get access to that, please know that if it's painful at all at the beginning, it's around likely the attachment. So you need to speak to your midwife and express a bit of milk. So you squeeze the back of your breast all the way through to your nipple and express a bit of milk and rub that milk around your nipple, because your milk is actually antimicrobial. You know, it helps the skin to heal. It's lovely smell. Bub knows it. You're not introducing any more chemicals or any new smells or tastes to bub. So just express some of your breast milk, rub that around your nipple. Super good way to go. I would encourage you to get some breast pads, because when your milk comes in, it can be leaking, and the smell, if it gets on your bra, you'll have to change your bra often. So rather than doing that, just get some breast pads. You can get disposable ones, but you can also get washable ones where you take the pad out, wash them, and reuse them. So completely up to you. There's no right or wrong way around that. And then for in the birth suite, so for your labor, and I know we've talked about lots of these things, but I want to show you, and again, remember, DM me at BirthBeat and we will send you the whole downloadable list. Be thinking about massage tools. So we have talked about the importance of touch and massage for pain relief and heat. So these things are great. If your partner is spending 3 or 4 hours massaging your lower back, warning here partners, don't be complaining about that to your partner, but their thumbs are going to get sore, their hands are going to be sore. So using tools like this is not a beating stick, this is to be used as a massage tool. Thinking about something, I realise I should have board shorts, but these are Roscoe's, budgie smugglers. But remember, we've talked about this, super important. As midwives, we expect you to be naked in the bath or shower, mums. We do not expect your support people to be naked. So particularly for the dads, we ask that you're wearing a pair of board shorts or something in the bath or shower. And I know if you're listening to this and you'd be thinking, what? You'd be surprised how many times I've had to say to people, oh no, sorry guys, we expect you to have swimmers on. But it might feel a little bit weird as well when you're jumping into the bath or shower, but that's more for the midwives. We don't want to be seeing you. We expect to see your partner naked. We do not expect to see you naked. What I notice as well when women are laboring is that their hair frustrates them a lot. And we know that that's about the endorphins and your hypersensitivity. So hair bands, shower caps, ways to be able to keep your hair off your face, super important. You will be really sensitive to everything. Your shirt will feel uncomfortable, your jewelry will feel uncomfortable. You become really aware of all of those feelings. So just be thinking about comfort and practicality. I've put in something for you, something for partner, depending whether you're birthing at home or a public or private hospital. If it's the wee hours of the night, there might not be food there available. You need to continue to maintain your energy. So thinking about good foods, be getting a pump water bottle, sort of that, because again, you can sip from it quickly. But remember that tip I told you the other day around the first wee that you do. If you've had a vaginal birth, the first wee that you do is quite stingy. So be pouring some warm water out of a water bottle as you're doing that. You will thank me for that tip. Often women, before they start to push, will vomit. So nice just to be able to rinse your mouth out and get rid of that vomit taste. It's normally a really good indication that you're close to starting to need to push. So I know it's awful, that feeling of vomiting, but usually it's a real surge of hormones and an indication that you're close to starting to push your baby out. So have a way just to refresh your mouth, whether it's some mints or some mouthwash. If you're comfortable in the position that you're about to start pushing in, you're possibly not going to want to go away to clean your teeth and things like that. So adding that in, bit of massage oil. Now I put this in here this morning just to create an opportunity for me to have this conversation, because every hospital is going to be different about what they provide you. And there might be a smell or a scent that you're using at home now when you're practicing your massage techniques that will create that nice, safe, secure place for you. So bring in your favored products, okay? Not necessarily the hospital's going to be providing something that you like the smell of or that your partner's used to using. Remember, this birth space is your space. So think about how you can do that. Think about oils or scented. So candles is a bit of a tricky one. Most hospitals won't allow you to take in candles, but maybe you've got like a salt lamp or a particular something that you'd like to take in. Think about what is going to help you to create your safe space, okay? That's what I want you to be thinking about. And it helps you to think about turning down the lights, bringing in things, clothes that are comfortable and that make you feel really safe and secure. So think about that. Music can really play, and again, you know, most hospitals, you'll probably just bring in your own speaker and a phone. This is a bit old school now, isn't it? But just about encouraging that conversation around how do you make the birth suite your safe, secure place. Even after you've had the baby, you know, having music helps create really positive endorphins and a nice environment. Maybe it's music that Bub's been used to listening in utero, so it's nice for Bub to be hearing that once Bub's born. So just thinking about different things like that that are still really simple and basic to take into hospital. I hope that is helpful. Remember, this whole list is available. Just DM me at BirthBeat on Instagram, not on the Stay at Home Mums page because they have so many messages to be answering. And then we go on to the fun stuff. You're probably going to hear my ovaries pulsing. Someone just said, what is best to wear en route to hospital for birth? Really just comfy, easy access. You're probably not going to want to wear jeans and things like that because they're not so comfortable to be sitting and moving in. If you're actively labouring when you're heading to hospital, you're still going to be wanting to be in something that you're probably just comfortable in at home. Now, when you're thinking about a bag for baby, I will say, and this is just my personal opinion, to think about something that both parents feel comfortable carrying around. So when we first had Polly, we had a beautiful tan nappy bag, but it did look very much like a handbag. And my husband, Roscoe, didn't like the thought of carrying the handbag, so he used to pull everything out, move it into a backpack so that if he was carrying it, he would take the backpack. And it's just a little bit challenging. Or have two set up, have one for each of you, so that you're not having to move everything around, because I tell you now, that is when things get forgotten, or you go to get something and it's not where you think it is. So just think about that. But this is coming in to take into hospital for Bub. So most hospitals will provide nappies, but some hospitals will provide cloth nappies. So find out from your hospital what they provide. Jess is planning on using cloth nappies, so the modern cloth nappies, which are the disposable nappies. If you're not, and your hospital doesn't provide nappies, you will need to take in some disposable nappies, because all the hospital will provide are the old school cloth. They don't provide the modern cloth nappies. I would also suggest all of you grab one of these. It's like it's what's called a happy snappy. It's like $1.50 or something like that at Coles, because most hospitals will also, if they're giving cloth nappies, give metal pins, and they're really hard to use. We know how to use them because we use them all the time as midwives, but you don't want to have to be struggling with that in the wee hours of the night again. So just grab those. But if you're planning on using disposable or modern cloth nappies, bring your own in. If your baby is born and goes to a special care nursery or a higher level of care, they will provide the nappies. So don't worry too much about that. And then thinking about some wipes. Most hospitals also won't provide wipes. They'll provide basic brands if you're specific about the brand you want. And again, you know, I just like water wipes because I like that they haven't got a strong smell, they don't have a strong scent, they're not hugely expensive. So, you know, something like that. Again, I don't encourage dummies and things because it's, again, the first 24, 48 hours, it's early days. So Jess has just got another little thing there with some breast pads in there so that if she needs those. And Bub will be spending a lot of time having skin to skin, so you don't need to take in a lot of outfits. But we have talked about, in terms of taking something for Bub to come home in. So thinking about the outfit that Bub will be coming home in, and a lot of you are going to be having winter babies. So please remember, oh my gosh, this is where I just get into my happy place. Look at this little outfit. So it's a little cocoon with a little matching hat. How adorable. I'm like, honestly, the cluckiest person. Love the thought of these little babies. But thinking, this is like, I can smell how lovely this smells. It's all been washed with a lovely softener. It's been out and dried in the sun. So if you've got new clothes, wash them, get all that sort of smell of the packaging out of them if you can, and you have access to washing them out in the sun. And something, what size clothing? Yeah, look, 4 zeros is probably what I would recommend. I also say don't buy lots of 4 zeros, because if you have a 4.2 kilo baby, they're not going to be in those for a long time. So 4 zeros, if they're a little bit too big, it's not a big drama, but don't go and buy a whole heap of 4 zeros, because especially in the first few weeks, they just spend a lot of time in onesies. I would recommend, and again, this is pretty personal preference. So I think Jess has, see, are these little press stud ones? I personally really like the zip up ones. I just think that's a little bit easier, particularly in those early days. Any suggestion for what to wash newborn clothes in? Yes, something that's not really heavily scented. So you know, things like certain brands have really heavily scented. I just find something quite soft. If it's organic, if it's, you know, quite neutral, again, it's about those strong smells and chemicals and things. We don't need to have those, like just a bit of old school Sunlight soap, something like that is probably really helpful. Will even a large Bub fit in the 4-0? Yes. So Theo was 4.2 kilos and he comfortably fitted into 4 zeros. But mind you, he didn't spend long in newborn nappies. And then thinking about something to take Bub home in, please do include a hat as well, because a lot of you are going to have winter babies. So again, this is Bub's little going home outfit. Have some socks and ideally have some mittens and a singlet. So Jess has got a couple of singlets, and you can see here, these look like socks, but they're actually mittens. So when your baby is born, they will scratch at their face a lot. So it's really good if you can pop a couple of mittens on their hands, keeps them nice and warm, but it also stops them from scratching their newborn skin. Sometimes their nails actually come out surprisingly long, really. So she's just got little 4-0, and that says up to 4 kilos, but I think you would comfortably be able to put that on a newborn. In terms of wraps, and I've talked about this before when I've shown you how to swaddle a baby, so go back and find that, is get wraps that are a lovely big size. So see how that's over 1 meter, and it's nice and soft. So it's lovely and soft on the baby, because most hospitals will just provide you with sheets, and they've been really heavily starched, so they're not soft. So it's not easy for you to swaddle a newborn in that. And again, you know, do your research on your products that work for you, but in the first 24, 48 hours, it's important that you and your partner learn and know how to swaddle your baby, because it helps your baby to feel nice and secure when they're not on you, and it really does help for them to sleep longer periods, because they're not startling themselves and waking themselves up. So please know that. And then Jess has just got a few other, like another wrap, a few more singlets, just the basics. So really you only need the basics. There's not a lot that you need to be taking in. It doesn't need to be a big, you know, wheelie that you're bringing into the hospital. And remember, you're able to go and get most things. So don't let it be something that stresses you. Let it be something that excites you. This is the fun bit where you get to be meeting your baby. And it's such a lovely time doing all the first baths and swaddling the baby and thinking about, you know, what you and your partner really want to enjoy that period. Now, Emily has said, do you suggest flannelette swaddles? Look, Kate, I don't. Again, a lot of this comes down to personal opinion. However, I find with a flannel swaddle, if you then move into an area like a bedroom or someone you're visiting their house or a shop that's heavily heated, it might be too warm for the baby. So I actually recommend the lighter swaddles, and you can be adding a blanket on top as opposed to the flannel swaddles. And then if you go somewhere where they're too warm, you've got to unwrap them. Okay, so just think about that. Layering is actually easier than doing hot, sort of warm outfits. You're better off layering so that you're able to take the layers off. My baby will be going to NICU when born. Should I pack a breast pump? No. Majority of NICUs will also provide you with the pump and the equipment. And I'm a NICU nurse, so before I was a midwife, I was a NICU nurse. And we will set you up with your own sterilization and cleaning kit that stays with you and your baby. And then when you go home, we'll probably send you home with a hospital kit as well. So hold off on that. That's a really good question. We've actually had lots of questions coming in recently around babies going into the NICU. So I'll do some more Q&A on that. We might even do something specially on that next week or the next. Newborn nappies is the answer there. What is NICU? Sorry, Grace, that was, yes, newborn intensive care unit. So if a baby is born prematurely, or if your baby has requirements that they need in terms of their blood sugar levels, or they're not feeding, or they're not breathing on their own, they will need to go to a neonate intensive care unit or what's called a special care nursery. So it just means that your baby needs a higher level of care than what they're going to get in a regular postnatal unit. So let me know actually if that is of interest to you, because we've just had a mum who was doing the online program, and that was some of her feedback, that she'd like some more information around preemie babies. So particularly if you know that you're going to be being induced, or if you have twins or triplets, you've got more of a chance of having a preemie baby. I hope that was helpful, guys. That's been super enjoyable for me. As I said, if you want the list of what to pack, just send me a direct message on Instagram and I will get that out to all of you. Let me know what you want to hear more of, or let Heidi and Eddie know what you want to hear more of. And I will be back next Monday at midday. Talk to you all then. Bye.